engineering team gets sort of salivating about our JavaScript SDK. So we have a lot of fun. I mean, we've been doing a lot of the social stuff, shared experiences, events all over the place. We've got stand-up comedy and improv comedy with people in the Perception Neuron. We had a guy get data out of this volcanic crater and give a tour of it, which was super epic. We've had meetups, meditations, movie nights, all types of stuff, trying to figure out what people want to do in a virtual room after the Hollywood period is over with their VR headset. But one of the key things, one of the cool things we're doing to add to that is our SDK, which is heavily featured on JavaScript. So what you're seeing here is a web browser that is not a plane. And let me back up a little bit. And actually, here we go. Let's go here. Let's pull up this 3D web content so you kind of have a sense of what I'm talking about when I say 3D web content. So this is a chess app. We have it in a 2D web browser in Chrome, but it's clearly 3D objects that we're looking down on, right? These are all OBJs that these objects are here. And we're like, okay, I'm going to take that same URL, Control-C. I'm going to go back into AltspaceVR. I'm going to click on this URL bar here, paste it, and press enter.
Nice.
All right, so what you're looking at here is a website that is something that I could walk around and interact with. This is all web content, right? Not only that, let's back it up a little bit. Let's get creepy Bruce back. And I'm going to teleport in a place where hopefully you'll be able to... Whoop,
There we can see.
There we go. See? So here we are seeing the same thing, and is able to interact with the same thing and synchronize. I messed up the piece. I played chess with myself. So very good. So not only we're cross-platform, but all of this is web content that's synchronized. So all these people can sit around the same chessboard or whatever it is and interact with what's going on here. So let's kind of look at a little bit. This is one of the chess examples. It's kind of cool. Let me back this up. Show you some fun stuff that we've been doing. Some of you, if you're code pin junkies, you're probably familiar with Chill the Lion. You get a fan and you hold it and you blow him off. So I replaced that fan with your head position, and now you move around him. And in VR, he's actually about 5 feet tall, a little more intimidating, a little less cute. Let's get another example here. It's a little fun. Let's see. Over the course of an afternoon, I was able to do this. It's a 3JS open source project of Nyancat. And there we go. Now, over the course of the afternoon, I'm bathing in the sparkles. And I can see that Nyancat has a butt and it's not frosted. And this is great. So this is stuff just to wrap your head around the SDK and what it can do, bringing this 3D web content. So the process is literally the same process you would use for building a website. I have Prepros here, for example. It's a local web server. And I have Sublime Text up as well that has a web page. And let's go ahead and bring up that web page so you can see what I'm talking about. I have it all in this Google Doc here. Hopefully this will work properly. All right, so we got Hello World. I have some text here. And I'm going to go back to Sublime. And let's change something simple, comment it out of rotation. So I'm going to go ahead and take that away. Control S to save. And it's going to mock me. No, it's going to work. Yes. So now that's rotating. So let's, that's a little too slow. Let's up the ante. Let's up the stakes. Yeah. So this is kind of the workflow. You're literally building a website, and you can have that refresh in real time.
Wow.
And we actually have this working in CodePen in VR, so you didn't have to switch between 2D. But once we got things going, it was working perfectly. CodePen did an entire site redesign and broke most of our stuff. So now CodePen's at your own risk. But it is kind of an advantage because the app or experience is contained in the cube. So one of the things they don't tell you about making VR in VR is that if you have a bug, you experience it firsthand, which may or may not be horrible. We had a thing in Altspace that we called the right shift of death earlier in the development cycle, which was really, really bad. But with this, if you make a mistake, it's just contained to that cube, so that's cool. Right, so that's kind of the overview of what it looks like there. So what can you actually do with this, and why are we doing it? We're doing it because this is the fast track to make a shared VR application quickly. Most of these projects are done in like 24 to 48 hours to knock out a prototype. And we've experienced where we have these web developers that come to the meetups. They're trying to learn Unity on Unreal, and then over the course of a couple months, they just get tired. But because before they get to making their poker app, for example, they have to know all this networking stuff and matchmaking and VoIP and avatars and all the stuff they have to wade through before they get to making a single card, right? So hopefully what we're trying to do is make it so a person that's a web developer or a person that's familiar with JavaScript or just a programmer in general that wants to make a social VR app can do that rather quickly. So this is what it looks like after a couple weeks of work. Let me bring this up here. This is made by one of our developers that's working with us, and he made this air hockey app. Again, this is all HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You grab a puck and nuts. So this is the kind of thing that you can build. So what happens if you have a small team and it's a month of work? It will look something like this. Let me back this up here. Actually, we're going to get out of this space altogether. We're going to go here. So this is exciting. While this loads up, I'll kind of preface this a little bit. So one of the first things we did internally when we had our internal game jam with our SDK, we were like, hey, let's do this 48 hours. I looked at two of the other engineers, were like, D&D? D&D, let's do this. So in 48 hours, we made the simplest, most rudimentary tabletop role-playing thing. Then we put that out there, and at the time it was closed beta. I ran a game, 12 people showed up, 6 people stayed, and we played a game for 5 hours. 6 people in VR straight for 5 hours playing D&D, the absolute nerdiest thing you could possibly do, and it was amazing. And we realized that was a great use case. We doubled down a little bit, and around that time, Wizards of the Coast was like, hey, what are you doing over there? And we're like, nothing. And we ended up meeting with them, demoing with them, and this is the result. So we actually made an entire experience around this JavaScript app. First, you start, you grab your prop that you want. I want to be a bard. Let me bring up my selfie cam, another feature. Oh, I got it on my back. Yeah, bard-tastic. Now I'm going to go over here, go to the table, and before the table loads, I'm like, oh, I have a web browser here. Let me set the mood a little bit. Hold on. And go to let's do this. All right. Very good. YouTube and tavern music. Yes. Let's get that going on. Send that on the screen. Yeah, set the mood. Excellent. The internet is failing me. It's taking forever to load. Oh, there it is, the table. So while the table loads, you can see as I go around the table, I have these floating private web browsers that are my tomes. These have my contextual information, my pre-done character sheets, my notes for the game, and it's just a web browser, so if I want to do, 3.5 edition, or if I want to do Pathfinder instead, I'm just pulling up those resources or those PDFs and putting them there. And now we have the table. I have the DM station. I have some things I can do here. It looks like someone already brought some tiles and figures. Let me see, I'm going to put a gelatinous cube in the middle of that. How about that? Yeah, about a dragon. Let's make this harder. Click on that and let's kill him. Very good. This is all HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Everything that you're seeing here. I have the ability to save the layout. I'm actually going to go ahead and save this layout here. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I can maybe load a different one. What's under number 1? Great. Different tiles I can pick. Different figures I can pick from. And of course, there's a dice chandelier. A couple D20s here. Let's do this. Canon.js is the library used for the physics. Ooh, so close. All right. So not only that are we around the table with people around the world enjoying this game, but maybe I start over here as a DM to start the story. Maybe I take someone over to the corner because we have 3D positional sound and whisper, "You're crazy now." Or perhaps I just go behind the bar and start role-playing. Aye, lads, pull up a pint and start the story. Or let's down from the bar. So now it adds these other elements to the D&D game that I can not only connect with my college buddies that are all over the country, but add a little kind of flair on it as well. So this is kind of what we're doing at AltspaceVR, finding interesting ways for people to connect with each other that they wouldn't be able to connect to otherwise, or that are richer and more interesting than just getting on a Hangout or a Skype call. So we're seeing ourselves as a communication platform, finding events for people to attend that are interesting and awesome, but also enabling users to do their own thing as well. So that brings us to what we're doing for you guys potentially. We have $150,000 set aside for developers that want to make apps and experiences with our JavaScript SDK, of which I have $128,000 left. Let me throw that money at your face and build stuff with us. We are also looking for users that want to build communities with us as well. If you have an idea for a type of performance you like to do, you're a hardcore D&D guy that like to host some games, or you have an idea for, hey, I'd like to hold my meetup, or whatever it is, we have Spanish practice, Arabic practice actually just happened, and that's going to be a featured event. Someone put that together because the Spanish practice was cool, and they want their language, so French is coming as well. So there's all these ideas that we have for getting people together in the same virtual space and sharing each other's company, essentially, and having web content there to pull from to support whatever experience that is. So that's AltSpace in a very large nutshell. So that's kind of the presentation there. Happy to answer questions. So, shoot.
You showed a screen that everybody in the room could see as well as individual browsers. I was wondering how easy is it for, let's say, a group of 5 to somebody to say, I just want to show this group of 5 and nobody else sees it.
Absolutely, that's easy. So on the on not on Gear VR, but currently on the desktop client, I can go to. I can go to the events page, and I can see the events that are coming up, but I can also go to my events, and I can schedule an event. And once I schedule that event, I have a private link that I could share with those people. And that system will be maturing very, very soon. We'll be getting easier and easier to be able to reach out to people that you want to invite to your space. Say, I want to have a movie night, and I want to invite these 5 people, and we can do that. And YouTube, Netflix, and Twitch are all kind of optimized. So if you put a YouTube video up there, it'll automatically go full screen and look nice. So those things are working pretty well. Yeah, that's kind of the overall flow.
Do you have any advertising services built in?
No, we do not. I think in general, AltSpace is looking to find more creative ways. I think in some ways, I'm speaking for myself here, I think it's a little unfortunate that the internet had all these high and mighty dreams and end up being on an ad-based model, and that stopped a lot of creativity out of things, I think. And VR, I would hope we don't go down that same path first, at least. There's so many ways. I mean, we've had events where people their feedback was like, that was the greatest experience of my life, and I gladly would have paid for a ticket to do that, right? That's a vector to make money. When you're talking about people inhabiting avatars, and instead of looking at the back of one as it walks through, Skyrim, you get so much more attached to the items that you're getting. So now that watch I get for my avatar with the track